Hello and welcome to the Fire in the Belly show. Today we have myself, Mighty Pete, and we are joined by the Zach Babcock. Good afternoon to you, Zach. I think it is afternoon, right?
Yeah, definitely. Hey, what's going on, Pete? Man, I'm fired up to be here, man.
Listen, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to meet new people. I don't think we haven't spoken before, so listen, it's always good to have new people on here. Been looking forward to this because you've quite a background, really. So, Zach, tell us, who are you, what do you do, and where are you from?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Zach Babcock. I'm the host of Underdog Empowerment Podcast and the CEO of Podcast Powertrain. We're a company. We help entrepreneurs build dominant brands with podcasts. We've helped over 250 people, specifically working directly with them, and a lot more. Have gone through our course material. So that's our passion. That's what we do. I got a pretty wild story. We all do that led up to this. I did over 5 years of my life in prison for being a knucklehead growing up and not having any real chief aim in life. But I got my life together when I went back to prison just 20 days before my twin sons were born. That's when I said, man, I'm done. I'm going to move in a completely different direction. And it wasn't easy, but hey, here we are today, and I'm grateful for it.
Are you where you're supposed to be today, do you think?
Oh yeah, man, without a doubt, man. So this year has been crazy, man, because I ended up doing everything that they said I couldn't do. And what's wild, man, is I started the Underdog Empowerment Podcast because at the time I was broke, and anytime I tried to collaborate with anybody, any other entrepreneurs, everybody was laughing at me. They thought that I was just a joke, a clown, did time in prison, he's not going to do anything. And I ended up doing December 26th, moved my family into the home that we're in now. Before that, our daughter was sleeping in our closet because we didn't have enough room for her at the old house. And now we had this amazing house. Everybody has their own room, and it's just I'm super grateful to be where I'm at today. But yeah, man, I'm still constantly driving myself though.
Do you think that's a useful? I mean, to have that contrast, that comparison. I mean, you know your lowest moment, right? So that's something. Is that a fuel for you? That sort of never go back type scenario?
Yeah, man, without a doubt. It's definitely a great experience because I'm definitely never going back to that. But I also feel like I got lucky in the regards of experiencing what I've experienced, because I can relate to people that are, super like in a bad place, maybe on the lower end of life, or I can relate to multi-million, you know what I'm saying? So it gives me that broad perspective of both extremes of life. And I feel like, that's definitely benefited me.
Hmm. And then eventually, would you say, are you a pain driven creature? Are you a pleasure driven creature? Or where do you sit, do you think?
Man, that's so hard because I definitely I feel like every human at the core is like more strongly motivated by pain at the end of the day, when that pain gets strong enough. But I do take a lot of risk, and I will take a lot of calculated risks now, a lot of dumb risks early on, right? But I'm not afraid to bet on myself in order to gain something. I noticed that I would do that more than like your average Joe, for sure. I mean, just to give you an example, dude, back in before I broke through in the business, back in 2018, our water was shut off. We got 4 kids, bills were backed up, credit cards are maxed out, and I went and got a title loan on my Chrysler Aspen for $4,000 to join a mastermind at $2,000 a month, just to try to learn how to craft offers online or whatnot. So yeah, that was a huge gamble that ended up paying off big time. But yeah, I'll do stuff like that. I'm not afraid to bet on myself.
That's awesome, isn't it? I mean, that really that wakes some underdogs. That really is that they need to feel that pressure, their feet to the fire, or fly closer to the sun, and that's almost that's the trigger point for them, right?
Yeah, you know what? I almost feel like, there's I've here I got a lot of entrepreneurial friends, as I'm sure you do, and I know I got a lot of friends with the opinion of, hey, burning the boats is stupid. Why would you do that? But for me, there was no other way. And like, if I wouldn't have done what I did, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I feel like, as an entrepreneur, there's going to be a point where you're going to have to burn the boats, or you're going to have to settle for what you have and what you've had. And now if what you have and what you've had is okay and makes you happy, cool, great, no worries, you know. But if you know that thing that you're aiming for is like your true potential, your true calling or whatnot, and you're not betting on yourself to get there, then, you know, then you got to live with that at the end of the day. And for me personally, I would not be happy with myself if I knew that I had an opportunity to go out and pursue my dreams, but I didn't, because I was scared to bet on myself. So as an entrepreneur, man, if you look up the word entrepreneur, it takes on greater financial risks than most people in order to get where they are. And so you got to be willing to take that bet on yourself, because if you won't bet on yourself, then who will? And that's just our own personal opinion about it.
Mm. It is funny though. I mean, people who are in I'm going to call it a position of privilege, right? They're okay. They're doing good. They have an okay job. They have a good job, but yet they never quite get to pull the pin for their passion or their thing that sets the boat on fire, right? I mean, they just coast along, right?
Yeah. I know for me, I can only speak from experience, but for me, I just wasn't getting anywhere, and I knew I needed some good mentorship. And I invested in a few other mentorships prior to this, and made some bad investments because I didn't know what I was doing. But I learned through experience from making those mistakes on how to find the right people. And when I found this guy, I was like, man, I truly believe that this guy can help me get to the next level as far as like my copywriting and crafting offers. And I'm willing to bet on myself, because right now things ain't looking good, and they're only going to keep on getting worse unless I take some chances like this in order to level up. And that's what happened.
Do you know where that came from, that ability to almost look outside of yourself, right? Because you see yourself, you know the situation that you're in, you know the environment you're in and what's going on around you, but yet you choose to actually step outside of that, and you see something in the distance. I mean, did you know what you wanted, or was it just a sense or a feeling? How did you know what was possible?
Yeah, great question, man. So this goes back to my mom for sure. Like, my mom, even through all the crap that I put her through, she always had my back. She was always there for me. And every day she would always build me up and tell me, these things that made me believe in myself. And, it's crazy, is I had an opportunity to interview Robert Greene not too long ago, about a year and a half ago. And in one of his books, his newer book, The Laws of Human Nature, he talks about that relationship between the mother and the son, whereas if the mother spoils the son affectionately, not like with material things, but with affection, like, hey, you could do anything you put your mind to, I believe in you, these things, right? That son will tend to go on to have more confidence than like your average person. And it's so true, man, because like my mom would always build me up when I was so young, and that's carried on in my life or whatnot. So I got lucky in that regard, because that just happened. I just was born into a great family with a mom that truly cared about me. So I got to give her the credit when that comes. But even after the prison and all that stuff, man, I still believed in myself, and I got out and I was trying to find a job and couldn't find a job anywhere. And then I started off in network marketing. I'm no longer in network marketing, but I'm so grateful for network marketing, because that also opened my eyes up to the other possibilities that was possible for me. Because at the time I couldn't even find a job, but then this company gave me the opportunity, and I was able to go out and create, almost $2,000 a month income. I was like, whoa, I don't have to let my past define me. I can create my own future. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. I mean, that sort of drive to actually get on, I mean, that sort of ability or belief in self, I mean, that's pretty cool to actually then, as you say, to discover sales. And is that the sales part, or the customer journey, is that almost part of it, actually persuading others to believe in you as much as they believe in the stories? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's why I ended up getting out of network marketing, because there was nothing wrong with the company that I was in. I actually did like the products, but it just wasn't for me. It was like, man, I got to do my own thing. And I just didn't like the way I was being showed how to reach out to and recruit people. And I'm like, man, I'm sitting here trying to convince people to try a product that they never even heard about or know that so I'm trying, like, the market awareness on that was like, they weren't even aware that they had a problem, right? And then that this solution would solve that problem. And so there's so much work to be done to even get them to be ready to buy. And it just wasn't that, along with other things, it just wasn't my own thing. And so I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to go and do my own thing. Because me personally, I like attraction marketing. I just like being myself and putting the content out there and attracting the people that resonate with it. For me, hands down, is so much better than like cold outreach, which is essentially what network marketing is. Yeah, I never jived with that as much.
Just break that down for us. I mean, so you're saying it's almost like the attraction. So am I right in saying you build a sort of almost an unbelievable offering, an offering that actually provides so much service and value that actually people self-recruit? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, so with me specifically, how I've done it organically, I'm not talking about like paid ads or anything, but how I've done it organically. That's how I got my start before we even started touching paid ads, but and cut my teeth on organic marketing. Did that for years, built up over $500,000, did over $500,000 in a year with no paid ads or whatnot. So we did a lot of organic stuff, and with what I like to, there's so much that goes into it, right? But with what I like to do is I like to not just make content that's always about business, because that's boring, right? And I'm not saying that you can't do it, because I know people that do, and I do make a lot of content that talks about, my subject matter or whatnot. But I also like to let people in and let them in on my personal life, make them laugh, stuff like that, and really build that relationship with the audience, because they know things about me that has nothing to do with business, but now they know, like, and trust me. And that's what people need to have before they can actually, take that next step with you as a customer.
It is, right. It's a fine line these days, I suppose, with especially the rise of the entrepreneur, that, business life, home life, entrepreneur life, taking a risk, whatever, it's all mashed up into the same pot, right? So you gotta like the person you're trusting, right?
Yeah, without a doubt, 100%, man.
Yeah. So tell me, before we sort of really get in, I mean, what does fire in the belly mean to you then?
Yeah, great question. I love it, man. Fire in that belly is that burn, that thing, that's that burning feeling in you where you have the fire in the belly to go out and achieve your dreams. It's not just like an interest. It's like you're convicted of making this thing a reality, and you're going to do whatever it takes to go out there and make it happen, no matter what kind of odds are stacked at you. That's why it really drew me into it, man. Because it's a lot like, the same thing about whether the whole concept behind underdog empowerment is like, hey, you're an alpha underdog entrepreneur. Yeah, you have this crazy big vision that nobody believes in, but it doesn't matter, because you're committed. You're going to do whatever it takes to level up and win. And that's what I feel like with the fire in the belly. It's like that burning, intense desire to go out and do whatever it is that you got to do to achieve your dreams, no matter what kind of odds are stacked against you.
And what is that for you then? Where do you feel it all the time? Do you, is it something that, you can put your hand on and say, this is what my fire in the belly is?
Yeah, man. And I'm extremely competitive. And up until this year, I used to be like a hardcore hustler. Like, I was into that hustle culture, work 16, 18 hours a day, was doing that for 6 years since I got out of prison. And then this year I went from 16 to 18 hour days to 16-hour work weeks, 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday now is how I roll. And we're actually growing faster and stronger than we ever had before, which is crazy. But yeah, man, the fire in the belly for me, it depends on what you're talking about. Cause I got fire in the belly for, like stuff that I want to do spiritually, fire in the belly stuff, what I want to do with my family and other relationships, fire in the belly for the business, legacy, all that. But, and there's clear like end games for each one, but to help you with it, with that, to give you like a concrete answer for me though, we launched this podcast recently called Convicted Life. Now, it's a podcast that's one of its kind because not only is it, on all the major platforms like iTunes, Spotify, and all that stuff, but we also got it on 115,000 devices inside of the prison systems in the US. And for me, my like legacy goal here is a 9% recidivism rate or lower in the US. Now, recidivism is when someone gets released from prison, do they end up coming back within 3 years from getting released? Well, if you look at the recidivism rates in the US and compare them to anywhere else in the country, it's a clear sign that the US is failing miserably and it just ain't working. And so my goal is like, at the same time, I don't want to take away the personal responsibility for the person for going. You put yourself in prison. You did that to yourself. You made that choice, so now you're dealing with it in prison. But I want to be able to offer resources to help these people come out and get on a fast track to be able to turn their life around. Anybody can do it. I'm living proof, and I'm not the only person that's done it before. So a 9% recidivism rate or lower in the US, that's my fire in the belly. Crazy big goal, but hey, that's what it is, and we're sticking to it.
That's an awesome goal. I love that. Tell me, do you know what the secret recipe is as such that actually, you pulled through when others maybe didn't, or what do you think is the golden key here to help towards making the rates as good as they could be?
At the end of the day, what I did was, it was simple stuff. Simple to understand. It doesn't mean simple doesn't mean easy though. And you know what I mean? A lot of people get those two mixed up. They think simple means it's easy, but that's not the case. It's just easy to understand. There's still work involved. And all I did was I quit blaming other people for my problems. And I took complete ownership for everything in my life. Everything wrong in my life is my fault. And that's why everything right in my life is my fault now. And so taking that ownership, yeah, luck plays a part in it. Luck plays a part in everything, but at the end of the day, you can control your reality. You can control your situation. I had people push back on me like, well, you can't control everything. I'm like, well, yeah, sure. You can't control, like, if a tornado comes and destroys your home and everything you've worked for your entire life, like that would suck if that happened. You couldn't control that. However, you can decide, either to get really, worked up and distressed and miserable about it and choose to just be miserable for the rest of your life about it and complain about how you lost everything. Or you can choose to go out and build again and rebuild stronger than ever before and help other people that may have gone through the same situation. Whichever one you decide to do, it's your decision. You get to choose how you want to do. So no matter what happens to you, you can't control what happens to you all the time, but you always get to control how you respond. And in that, there's freedom that you can never be taken away from you. And once you do that, then that's when you really step into to true power.
It might be a strange question, but do you think, your journey and going to jail was meant to happen?
I do, man. And it's crazy. And I wouldn't change any of it at all, man. Because I wouldn't take back any of that. Dude, so I'm just talking about the 5 years in prison. I did a bunch of time growing up in and out of juvenile detention centers, boys' homes. I spent a large chunk of my childhood in and out of that too. So I'm talking, man, years upon years of being away from home. And I wouldn't take away any of that because it's made me who I am today. And through all that struggle and pain and stuff that I put myself through, I'm not saying that it happened to me, I put myself through it, but through all that pain and struggle and adversity that I put myself through, shaped and molded who I am today and gave me a strength of character and a mental fortitude that I would never get in any other place. So no, I wouldn't change any of it.
And I find that fascinating, that how, and I've had the joy of meeting people, and everything from, people who have been a victim of a crime or something else, or even alcoholism, right? But once they see that moment of, I'm going to call it enlightenment. I mean, it's kind of got a spiritual connotation and doesn't. It's whatever you choose. But that moment of seeing the greater version of you, right? That's enough to compensate for years or for a lifetime of stuff, right?
Amen. Absolutely, man.
Hmm. Yeah, it makes all the difference. It does make all the difference. What's your superpower, Zach? Do you know?
Yeah, well, without a doubt. Um, I got OCD when it comes to this stuff too, man. Like I love like psychology and like just everything about it. Human behavior fascinates me, dude. Like anything you're talking about, like psychology or what makes people tick or why we do the things that we do. It's just always been something that's been super exciting, fascinating to me. And I like to joke around and tell people, because I study a lot of stuff on that and geek out on psychology books and talking to people that like Robert Greene, for example. But I also like to joke around and say like, hey, I'd put my 5 years in prison up against any psychology degree any day, just because of that level. For real, it's not like how the TV shows portrayed to be in prison, but it's pretty close and it is pretty wild in there. And it's definitely a different culture and a different, experience that you never experience unless you went to prison. But that every day being in there with like literally psychological warfare every single day of your life, like walking around and having you pick up on some stuff, or you do and you pick up on some stuff and you stay out of harm's way, or you don't and you do. But yeah, that experience definitely taught me so much about psychology and just what makes people tick.
Oh wow, it's interesting. You use the words and you talk about picking up on stuff. I mean, are you a intuitive person? Are you an empathetic person?
Yeah, dude, you're asking some really good questions. That it's crazy because like we'll be at like a business networking event, right, or wherever, and we could be anywhere, like, and I'm like in a group of friends, like 5 guys, and like I can tell like when this guy to the left of me, he's telling a story and he's like making fun of this person in the story, and I can feel the guy to the right of me starting to feel like uneasy and maybe even ashamed or a little worried or whatever, because whatever the guy's talking about in the story and then he's making fun of is something that this guy does, or whatever. I'm just making a hypothetical situation up, but I could pick up those vibes. We all can. You ever hear the sayings like, hey man, I got a bad vibe about that, or I walked in that room, just had a bad vibe, because you can empathetically pick up on that. We had that tool before we even had language as a tool, before we could even speak words. When we were cavemen and stuff, we had to rely on our empathy tool of being able to read fear on another, on one of our tribe members' face whenever a saber-toothed tiger attacked us. Like, we had to rely on empathy before we could even speak. So we can all definitely tap into that.
And is it something you do tap in? I mean, do you trust yourself in that, and do you actively sort of, actively use that muscle, that purpose?
Yeah, I make every single decision off of my gut. I try to collect as much data points as I can to make informed decisions, but at the end of the day, I always go off of my gut, because my gut never fails me, dude. I've never made a decision going with my gut and it being a bad decision. The only time it does is whenever I go against it, whenever I don't listen to it, then it ends up being a bad decision.
So making a big decision, what are we looking at here? Do you like to sleep on it? Do you take a walk? What do you do?
It depends on what it is. Most of the time, I'm the type of guy that likes to jump off the cliff and grow wings on the way down. But then sometimes there's decisions where you should probably just sleep on and really make sure it's the right move. So most of the time, yes, I'll just go ahead and make the move and see what happens. But sometimes I will take my time with it.
No, it's fascinating, isn't it? As you say, it's built into us as humans, right? It's just who we are, that mechanic, that sixth sense, whatever it is. It's intriguing. You mentioned about spirituality and philosophy and things. I mean, do you classify yourself as spiritual, religious, either, none?
I'd say spiritual. I'm not really religious, but I believe in God and Jesus. So some people would say, "Oh, you're a Christian," but I'm not really a Christian. I don't go to church. But nothing against you if that's your thing. I just believe in God and I pray on my own times. It's pretty much. I do meditations every day. And I am a spiritual person, but yeah, I don't go around like pushing it upon other people.
And curious to know, I mean, do people get you now? Because I mean, this is like this is a 180, right? This is a massive change. This is, it's not like a little bit of a change or a little tweak, or I just learned a new skill. This is transformational, right?
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. You talking about like being spiritual and stuff?
Yeah, just that sort of, almost people probably wouldn't recognize you now, or would they?
Yeah. It's wild because before this year I used to like would make fun of the woo woo stuff or whatever, but now I'm all into the woo woo stuff. And it's it's wild. I was missing out though, but for sure. I'm not like hardcore on some of the stuff they do. I haven't got any chakras or nothing yet. But I do a lot of meditation and stuff like that. And I got a little Tibetan bowl and tuning forks or whatever. So that's about as woo woo as I do get. But man, I tell you what, it's done a number for my mental health, for my peace of mind. I just feel lighter this year after getting into it.
Because you talked about that transition, your sort of 16-hour days almost, and then to 16-hour weeks, and that's a hell of a flip, right? I mean, what triggered that, and what sort of caused, and what's been the benefit?
Yeah, what triggered it was a bunch of stuff leading up of being frustrated of not being in my kid's life. Like I said, I was going to. So when I got out, the whole reason why I changed because of missing out on my twin son's birth, like being away from my family was so painful for me that I had to run away from that pain. And so that's the reason why I started running in this direction that I'm in now. But then I found myself working these 16 to 18-hour days and I wasn't spending the time with my kids. And I was like, dude, I got everything I need right now to spend all the time I want in the world with my kids, and I'm not. I'm sacrificed for his business or whatnot. And so we ended up going on a mastermind that I hosted in Pensacola, Florida, and it was our first one, and we had all these clients that were flying all over the U.S. to come essentially sit and learn from me. Is what they were paying for. And we got there, and I'm already was like, what's next? What's next? So like thinking of the next thing, right? And I was like, wait a minute, dude, you mean to tell me this a few years ago, you're sitting in a prison cell and now you got people flying across the country paying you thousands of dollars to learn how to do marketing and building a brand from you. And you're already thinking about what's next. I was like, man, you gotta, it's never going to be enough, and nothing's never going to be enough unless you just start being grateful now. And then as soon as we left that mastermind, me and my videographer flew from Florida to Utah, and we went and interviewed Sean Whalen in person. And I'm just sitting here interviewing him, and like I just felt like he was holding up a mirror for me during that whole entire interview, so I could see myself and how I wasn't living fully in alignment with my core values. And so after that, I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm making it right now. I'm going to go down to 20 hours a week. I did that for 1 week. And then the following week, I cut off Friday altogether and went down to 16 hours a week. And that was back in January, and been doing it ever since. And man, it's a night and day difference now of who I am, like how much more peaceful I am. I still got that drive and that hunger, but I'm not like always on edge and intense and like go, 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 go all the time. And it's crazy when we get more done. So yeah, it was a great trade-off.
I'm curious. I mean, what sort of changes? Is it an acceptance? Is it a maturity thing? Is it whenever you become responsible, for those around you, what point do we say, yeah, I've got enough? I need, my goals have changed. My values have changed. You talked about core values there. I mean, core values, soul values, how do they all tie together?
Yeah. I was going through this question to myself, and I was like, why do we do that as entrepreneurs? If you think about it, we all start for two reasons: time freedom and financial freedom. And the reasons why you want those could be whatever, but if you break it down to its simplest form, those are the reasons why most of us become entrepreneurs and start a business. And so you get in and you struggle for about the first 2 to 3 years. You're not making any money. You're trying to figure this thing out, and It's just everything that could go wrong is going wrong. You're running in a brick wall after brick wall, but then you start getting some traction and you actually start doing really good. And for me, once we broke through, it was like it took 3.5 years to break through. And then when we broke through, we became a 6-figure business in less than a year. So like when you break through, you smash through, right? But then that excitement kicks in right there. But and then you're like, oh, I gotta grow. And you're always focused on growth, and hustling and going. But at that moment, when you hit that 6-figure mark, you literally can have the time and financial freedom. You can literally set up systems and the structure within your business to remove yourself from most of it, if not all, but most of it at least, at a 6-figure mark, pre 7 figures, and get to where you're spending that quality time with your family or doing whatever you want with your time, but having that true financial freedom. I did it myself, so I know it can be done. And I just feel like too many people just get too excited when they finally break through and forget why they started in the first place.
Was it a natural path for you? I mean, do you ever get, they talk about imposter syndrome and they talk about deservingness, right? You get so much and go, this is not me. This is, it's foreign to you, right? Suddenly you're, as you say, bursting 6 figures, reaching into 7, going here, but you get some people just yank on the handbrake at that point, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. And what was the exact question again? Because I was thinking about the about I was thinking about whenever you get caught up in it, and then you're like you get too excited. And I was sorry, my mind was going whenever you asked that part of that.
No, that's okay. No, it was more a case of how did success feel for you? Is it something that came naturally? Is it something you deserve? Is it something you were happy to accept, or was there, did you have to almost play with it a bit to be able to bring it on board?
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely had to work through some stuff, mental stuff in the beginning. Everybody does, and that's the reason why you can't break through, because there's some limiting beliefs that you have that are running these programs of why you're not doing it. I wasn't I didn't have the fear of success per se. Mine was more like a scarcity mindset, probably, than if anything else. It was like, wait a minute, you can't do that, because if you do that, like stuff like that, because I just didn't know what I didn't know. I think that's what my mental blocks were to get in the 6-figure. But I definitely did have the imposter syndrome. I think everybody has that. I remember, dude, I used to wear suits and ties all the time. Now, there's nothing wrong with suits and ties, but I'm not a suits and ties kind of guy.
I'm not saying it.
Yeah, I got a beard that comes down to my belly and a body full of tattoos, and like it's not my thing for real. I can wear them, but it's like, and I will occasionally, but I was doing it every single day and acting like, I was happy all the time. And at the end of the day, man, yes, I'm happy and optimistic most of the time, but I do have bad days just like everybody else. I get rage, depression, or whatever, like not depression, but like sad. I'll have days where I'm sad. I'll have days like where I have anxiety, whatever, just like everybody else. But I was trying to act like I was happy all the time and wearing these suits and ties, acting like I was further along than what I really was, because I thought in my mind that I had to already be successful in order for people to take me seriously. I was like, I can't tell them I've been to prison or none of that. And so I had this imposter syndrome, like I had to be something that I wasn't. And what's crazy is I never broke through until I stopped doing that and just started being myself. And that's when I actually finally broke through.
Wow. It's amazing, isn't it? That sort of, I mean, would you say who you are and who other people think you are they one and the same? Are you able to, are you back to your true self?
I would definitely say without a doubt. And I would say that my audience would say the same thing. At least I hope they would. But I would say for sure, I'm like really confident on that. And the reason why I say this is because I put myself out there a lot. Like what I mean by that is like, if I make a mistake, I'll call myself out on it. And I do it routinely all the time. And I think that's why people connect with me, because I don't have an ego about it. I mean, we all have an ego about it to an extent, but I'm not afraid to say, hey, I made a mistake. and I fixed it and I'm fixing it, but I did make a mistake. I'm not afraid to say it because we're human, and we all do make mistakes. And I feel like whenever you could share, when you do mess up, I feel like that's an opportunity for you to build a stronger relationship with your audience. It's worked out really well for me up until this point.
That acceptance with self, I mean, that's huge, right? That sort of accepting yourself for your strengths, but also your weaknesses, and saying, listen, I'm not perfect, and that's okay too, right?
Yeah, it is. And that's something I think a lot of people beat themselves up too much about. Look, there's nothing wrong with saying that you got a problem or that you did something wrong or you got some stuff to work on. The problem is when you deny that you have it all together in the first place and it lingers, or if you're consciously aware of it and you're not doing anything to improve it, right? You're not learning from the mistake. There's nothing wrong with admitting it. It's actually a good thing. It's the first step.
Can you see that in yourself, or does it take a someone else externally to hold up that mirror for you? A mentor or a guide, or someone else. Are you able to sort of check yourself?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes it's good to have that out. I always look for that outside perspective because quite frankly, when you're in the bottle, you can't read the label on the outside. And so when you're in your stuff, whether it's your business or your own personal stuff, sometimes you can't even see how you react to certain things, or, you can't even look at, your business objectively because you're so caught up in the day and the ins and outs of it. Having that outside perspective, it's one of the best things you can do, because then they could show you things that you would never see, without that.
And do you have a sense of what you're capable of?
Yeah, without a doubt, I'm very capable of. My thing is this, man. I've noticed like you know what? Kind of going back to your superpower question, man. I'd say, man, I'm like a good community builder. Like that just comes naturally to me. Like I've always, even in school, before we even had social media, when I was 7 years old, like I used to be like the leader of our little club in school, and like I used to always it's just always been my thing, man. It's just, I don't know, it's always come to me. So yeah, that kind of goes alignment with that question. I'm definitely capable of building audiences around a cause, a movement, of something that's dear to people's hearts. Being able to communicate the core values of myself that in turn attracts those people that have those same core values and that believe in the same things I do.
Because I mean, you're saying, would you be quite good at reading people? Then do you think you can pick up on what's going on? I mean, you talked earlier about being quite intuitive. Is it something that comes naturally for you to?
Yeah, that does. Like, so I'd say there's about like a handful of things that I'm like world-class genius level at, maybe like 4 or 5 things. That's a stretch. That might be too much, that I'm just really, really good at. And then there's a bunch of stuff that I just suck at. Right. So I just double down on those 3 to 5 things that I'm really good at. And then that takes care of the rest for me.
Give us the top 5 then. Give us a whirl. See what we're talking about.
Yeah, so definitely like I mentioned, building the audiences, social media stuff, I guess you can lump that in together. Reading people, understanding what makes people tick, whatnot. Very good at I guess you'd say I'm very good at persuasion. Like I'm good at getting people to buy into something, as long as it's something that I truly believe in. Like, cause I get excited about stuff and then I can get other people to get excited about it too. Not all the time, but I've done pretty well with that. And I'm really good at like analyzing, especially like brands. Like I'm really analyzing brands, if they're, if I could tell, like, if the person that's running it knows what they're doing or whatnot. And I could like quickly spot out ways for improvement or whatnot. 'Cause that's definitely been something I always gravitated towards. So yeah, I would say those things right there.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, when's a great time to get you into a room, and when's a great time to get you out of a room then?
Into a room and out of a room. Oh, is that what you're saying? When's a great time to get me into a room?
Yeah. So when's the best time to get Zach involved? When do we pull you out of the room and say, listen, it's not, it's it's either just not your thing.
Oh, I guess I'm not understanding the question. Like, I'm
Well,
sorry.
some people, I suppose it's in some ways I'm asking what your flow states are. Where do we really see you resonate? Where do we see you shine? Um,
Oh, yeah. I got it now. Yeah, on stage, man. I go into another, I don't know what happens, but I just go into another mode and like it's just I can't even explain it, but it's like the zone or whatever you want to call it, but it just go into that flow state on stage. I'm just like a different person, and like that's just like where I feel at home. Definitely made for the stage.
well, and what do you suck at?
A lot, man. Where to start? I suck at drawing. I suck at SEO. I suck at systems and operations. I suck at numbers like finance. There's a lot of stuff I suck at. I pretty much suck at everything in the business except for marketing and sales. And so I just surrounded myself with people that are really good at those other stuff that we needed, and it worked out decent so far.
Has that been one of the lessons then to actually to figure out what you suck at and just give it away, right? Just well, not give it away, but task somebody else and stop trying to hold yourself back.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's where a lot of people hit a brick wall and just get stuck there way longer than what they need to. So once you break through in the business and you hit that 6-figure mark, you're probably bringing on people before that 6-figure mark, but definitely right around that 6-figure mark, you're probably in need of more help, on your team. And so many entrepreneurs are like, well, nobody can do it as good as me, so I'm just going to do it, blah, blah, blah. Or, and that's a limiting belief, man. It's limiting thinking, man, because you have a capacity. You are one person, and you only have 24 hours in the day, just like everybody else. There's only so much that you could do, and then so at that point, you're gonna hit a wall, a plateau, or whatever you want to call it. But you're gonna hit a part where you can no longer go forward without other people. You're gonna need those other people, and the sooner you can realize that and get great people on your team, the faster you'll grow. And so, a tactical way of looking and doing that would be, I learned this through one of my coaches one time, but eliminate, automate, delegate. That's the process. So you look at the task and you ask yourself, hey man, is this even worthwhile doing? Like, or can we just get rid of it? And if you can't get rid of it, or if you can get rid of it, then yeah, you exit out, because there's a lot of busy work that a lot of us do that never even serve the purpose of our mission. So if you can eliminate it, get rid of it. And if you can't, well, then it goes to the next step. Can I automate this? Like, can I set it? Because I don't want to give it to a team member if it's something that, technology can automate for me. And so if you can automate it, automate it. If not, then boom, it goes to the next phase. All right, can I delegate this? Because if someone else can do it besides you, then you want to do it, because a business is built to serve you, not you to serve it. And so if you can delegate it, delegate it. And if no one else but you can do that, then that's what you do. And that's the whole little process you can run everything through.
It's so strong, I suppose, and it probably goes for everything in the business, right? From marketing through to creation of new products, whatever. It's just surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah, that's the key, man. That's the secret right there. Get smart people on the team. Get the right people on the team, the smart people on the team, and then figure out the best place to put them at. And then you're golden right there.
I love that. I mean, that was, I think, in Think and Grow Rich and a number of books, they talk about that as, if, if you find yourself being the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. It's like,
Yep.
You need to be stretching up, right?
Amen to that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I mean, what for you then is, what's out there, what do you see in your bucket list? What's really something you really want to achieve?
Yeah, there's a bunch. So the immediate, the one that I want to do sooner rather than later, because there's quite a few. So I'm gonna launch a book. It's called Alpha Underdog. It's like the evolution of underdog empowerment, and essentially what it is it's a methodology of how I go about living my life and doing the things I do. But I'm trying to get the stuff out of my head, right, and into this book, and it's a way of life. It's all it is just a way of life. It's an identity, something that people can identify with. You know, you got just like church. You know, like we were talking about church earlier. There's some people that are like die hard church going people, and like, I am a Christian, I do this, and they do everything, like they're like in that, right? Well, Alpha Underdog is kind of like church. It's just a way of life. It's an identity, and it's a way of being an alpha underdog, getting everything, having it all in life. And it's not just about business, right? It's got the 5 pillars. It's got mind, body, soul, relationships, and finance. It's about putting it all together in the complete package. And so I'm launching this book. I'm going to go through Tucker Max with Scribe Media, drop 40K on this package because I'm shooting to get a New York Times bestseller. I don't care about an Amazon bestseller. Everybody's got those. I want to go big, right? And then when I get this book and launch it, that's what's going to open up the door for me to do these 20K to 100K speaking engagements. And when I'm doing those, I'm going to have my family come out and they're going to see me kill the stage like I always do. And then we're going to be able to go hiking in the nearby nature wherever we're at in the world. And that's how I want to spend the next 15-ish years of my life while my kids are still young. I want to be doing that instead of, doing stuff like that when I'm all older and stuff. I want to do it now.
That's so powerful. I love that clarity, that vision, and you can tell that you can see that, right? That's, that's totally clear in your mind. That's going to happen.
Amen. All the details matter. The more detailed you can, clear you can see it, the more real it is.
Yeah. Are you big into visualization goals? I mean, how do you go with the flow, or do you have it all mapped out?
All mapped out. I told you I got OCD, and it serves me well. But I got a vision board, and then my goals or whatnot. But like, I literally have that thing I just described to you on a vision board. I go to a level where I found this photo of this guy speaking on stage to thousands of people. And then I photoshopped my head onto his head, so it looks kind of goofy or whatever. And then I put my family in the crowd and stuff. And it's a visual representation of that or whatnot. And then us hiking or whatnot. So yeah, man, everything's detailed out, vision board, all that.
I love it. That's a key thing. I think it's having those goals, having the granularity around them, triggering all the 5 senses, 6 senses, if you like, and really getting it so that the conscious mind can't even tell the difference, right? They don't know if it's that was your imagination or it's really happening.
Amen.
Yeah, so powerful. You mentioned there hiking and leisure. I mean, what is your leisure and pleasure then? What's your downtime, your recharge?
Hiking. Yeah, every single Friday, and what's crazy is before this year, I was not an outdoor person. I was missing out, honestly. I didn't know what I didn't know, but it never was my thing before. Well, right when I made that switch to go from 16 to 18-hour days to 16-hour weeks, I started going hiking. We did a meeting with our COO. Me and him went out, and I went out by his house, and we met and we went hiking, and we mapped out the next 90 days, and I fell in love with it. And so I started going every single Friday. Is what I do. That's the reason why it only lasted, the 20-hour work week only lasted 1 week, because the following week after that, I said, you know what, let's just do 16. I'm going to take Fridays off and go hiking on Fridays. And I've been doing that ever since. And man, it's just been, I can't tell you enough. Like, if you are not going outdoors and getting out in nature regularly, I can't tell you how much that does for your mental health, how much does it for peace of mind, just everything. And I get my best ideas out there. So I'll take my digital notebook and I'll jot down ideas while I'm hiking. It's been the best thing probably the best decision I've made all of 2021 was to start going hiking every single week.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, it's, how many people say, yeah, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to graft longer, I'm going to do this. And it's actually the opposite, right? It's like, I'm going to do less. and actually I'm going to achieve far more. It's like
Yeah.
the
It's
irony, right?
weird though, isn't it? That
Yeah.
it's so weird, but literally, I literally am making so much more. And I truly believe it's because I'm actually taking the time now to dedicate stuff towards my health and my mindset and my spirituality and my relationships. Now that it's all put together, I'm showing up better in my business, way more, far more stronger and effective than I ever could, because I'm actually taking the time to take care of myself. So yeah, man, I can't tell you how much it's been a game changer for me.
I mean, if you were to try and almost put together, sort of 5 rules for life for you, I mean, or your sort of ethos or mantra, what would they be?
Um, it would be definitely ownership and everything. That's definitely one for sure. Because I mean, it changed my life, man, honestly. But I would say do the right thing. Honestly, it would be my core values. Honestly, it would be the mantra, and that would be like, do the right thing, do what you know in your heart is right. And you know what that is, and a lot of people, everybody knows what it is. Not a lot of people though sometimes don't listen to that, but when you do listen to it, good things do come. So that's that. Be excellent in everything you do. No half step in anything. I mean, like, either do it 110% or don't do it at all. That's that's just a core value of mine. That's the way I go about in life. Keep your home in order. You got to keep the home in order. It all starts at home. If you don't have your home in order, how are you going to get your business in order? How are you going to have anything else in order if you don't have the home in order? Focus on what you can control. That's a big one. I mean, why so many of us do this, and I've been guilty of it so many times, but anytime I catch myself focusing on a problem of something that I can't control, it gives me a bunch of anxiety. And as soon as I can, I try to reel myself in and be like, wait a minute, why even stress about something you have no control over? Just focus on what you can control in the situation. There's a big piece of mind in that right there. And then, be fluid and mobile. And what I mean by that is, like, as we grow older, especially men, as we grow older, we get more set in our ways and rigid. And we think, what worked in the past is going to continue to work. And, that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, be fluid and mobile. Always be a student humble every single day, 1% better than the next day, or better than yesterday. And know that, what got you here isn't going to get you there. So always be open to new ways and new strategies, and be able to adapt to the present moment. And those would be my tips.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Out of interest, I mean, is your slate clean mentally, do you think, from your past? Are you good? Have you made amends with who you are and where you are?
No. And I'm glad you asked that question. That's actually what I'm going deep into. So I got a lot of traumas that happened throughout life. It's crazy. I know there's stuff that I don't even remember. Just the other day, I got a friend who I was in prison with. He got out and he's doing good now, and he has his own produce business. He grows fresh produce, and I buy my produce from him. It's amazing, way better than the store-bought stuff. But he was like, yeah, man, what was that guy's name that you're selling whenever you got out that got you jammed up? And I was like, what? I can't remember. And I was like, because what happened before I got out both times is my cellie, the person I was in a cell with, that I shared my cell with, they had a shank, and you can get more time for having a shank in prison. And so I went to the hole, which is the prison side of the prison, both times. Well, I'm about 60 days before I went home. And so I'm sitting there in the hole freaking out, because I'm like, dude, I'm not going to get back home to my kids, and I did everything right this time. I didn't want to, do anything wrong, because I wanted to get back home. And I guess that event was so traumatic that I suppressed it, and I don't even remember who my cellie was. You know what I'm saying? I got shot at before I went to prison the first time, and our car got shot at, like literally bullets hit the car, ting, 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 while I'm in it and stuff. And it's like my body is like trying to block off that feeling and that traumatic experience. And so it like blocks off all these other emotions and stuff. It's wild, man. But I started uncovering that in these hikes and stuff. But what I'm doing is, and a lot of people aren't hip to this just yet. And a lot of people kind of have, like, their own opinions about it or whatnot. but I'm doing an MDMA assisted psychotherapy session. It's a legit, like, real deal. That right now in clinical trials are reporting a 70% cure rate for PTSD. It's the strong MDMA is the strongest tool known to man to help cure PTSD, stronger than anything we've ever encountered by a long shot. And so I'm going to do one of those sessions, and it's it's a real deal. I got it, like, somebody's going to sit for me, and then I got integration settings and all that stuff. But they say whenever you start doing that type of work, that usually it gets a little bit worse before it gets better. But I'm okay with that. I know by doing this work, working on my traumas and all this stuff and healing all that stuff up, it's going to allow me to really step into my true power and be able to reach my potential. I believe, because I want to squeeze every single ounce of potential that life has to offer. And I believe this is a way to do it by becoming the strongest version of myself that I can.
Wow. Do you like yourself? Do you love yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm not like I'm not conceited or whatnot, but I do have a lot of self-confidence, and I do love and appreciate myself.
That's huge, right? Self-worth.
Amen.
Yeah. I want to be a little bit cautious or sensitive to time here. So really I would sort of say to you, well, first of all, what's a guilty pleasure for you?
I would say a guilty pleasure, ice cream. I love ice cream. I got a sweet tooth.
What's your go-to? What's your weakness?
Yeah, so anytime it's got like cookie dough or brownie chunks in the ice cream, like, then you're probably talking my language. So yeah, I watch that. But yeah, whenever I do earn a cheat meal or whatnot, I tend to like to get some ice cream with it.
Love it. So tell me, if you were to try and describe your fire in the belly in one or two words, what would they be?
One or two words. 100% convicted. Is that 3 words or 2 words?
Yeah, it's borderline. 100% convicted. Oh, I'll let you away with that.
I'll just say all in. All in would be mine.
I love it. So tell us, where can people reach out, follow you, stalk you, track you down?
Right on. Thanks for asking. Definitely the podcast, Underdog Empowerment. It's on pretty much any podcast that you listen to podcasts on, any platform. But to make it super simple for you guys, you can go to underdogempowerment.com. The podcast is right there, and all my social media channels are right there on that homepage.
I love it. And when are we hoping to see the book?
I really want to get this thing out. It's probably going to be 2023. I want to get it in 2022. I'm going to start writing it. We'll ghost writing it with Tucker and them early 2022, maybe late 2021, but definitely by 2023 for sure.
Cool. It's going to be awesome. I can tell.
Well
done.
Man, I can't wait.
Is there a final message you'd like to leave with the listeners tonight?
Yeah. It would be, the thing that helped me go from, like a really dark place in life, in a prison cell, not knowing, uncertainty about the future, to getting out and winning in life, and having a really a thriving marriage and family and growing business and all these things, right? I'm not saying life's perfect, but it's a life's amazing now, and the thing that empowered me to do it would be, take the full responsibility of everything in life. Know that everything is your fault, no matter if you like that or not. Whenever you can take the ownership of that, it gives you the power to change that. So definitely that right there would be the parting advice that I'd give to all the listeners.
Yeah, so powerful. You can claim all that energy. That's a hell of a thing to do. Cool. Listen, Zach, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Coming on. Love the shares and really so much to give. So I wish you all the best and look forward to chatting again soon. Thank you.
Likewise, Pete. Thank you so much, man.
Awesome.